Hey folks, Jan Morgan here at the Gun Cave Indoor Shooting Range, my range in Hot Springs, Arkansas, and sitting next to me, Dan Wos, the author of Good Gun, Bad Guy, Behind the Lies of the Anti-Gun Radical, the hottest new book out there in support of the Second Amendment, and this book, folks, is going to help us win the gun control debate once and for all. And it's time to win it, because you know what, we've been having this gun control debate for decades, and the fact that we're still arguing about it tells me that neither side is winning. Dan's book is going to help us win. Dan, let's talk about it very quickly. I know we don't have a lot of time, but what is the biggest mistake that you think we as gun owners and Second Amendment people in America have been making that is causing us to not win this battle?
Well, I think first of all, people need to understand that anti-gunners are typically fearful of guns. I mean, they're scared.
Most of them are not knowledgeable about firearms.
Right, they don't have any experience, and they're just scared of guns. They've been programmed to be scared of guns.
Programmed by anti-gun groups.
By and the media and,
right.
and politicians. So understanding that is first and foremost. Also understanding that they're also being trained to hate gun owners like you and me.
Mm-hmm.
They don't like us. They think we're putting them in danger. We're irresponsibly putting them in danger. So taking that fear, it keeps them from the range. It keeps them away. They don't want to go there. They don't want to learn. They don't want to educate themselves because they're scared. And by hating gun owners, they get to stay angry and fight.
Okay, but we think that we know that the facts are on our side in the gun control debate. But when we spew the facts, it doesn't make headway. How can we make headway with these people?
Well, it doesn't make headway because they need to win. And that's one thing that we need to understand. They need to win. So
okay, but we're not going to let them win.
Well,
that's not negotiable. So how can we? Okay,
the Second Amendment is not up for debate.
It's not up for debate. But there are two different kinds of people that you talk about in your book. There are those that we will never be able to win over. Mm-hmm. So we don't want to waste our time with those. But how do we know the ones like you that are pliable? Because Dan was one time an anti-gun person, at one point in his life an anti-gun person, and you transformed. So how do we spot people like you who are pliable so that we can even have the civilized discussion?
Well, I think, first of all, let me tell you a little bit about how my transformation worked. I was raised in a pro-gun family, and we had guns in my house, and my father and I went hunting and target shooting. When he died when I was 24, I got caught up in all the propaganda and all the false narrative, all the anti-gun nonsense. And I actually started to believe it. So it's a matter of the media influencing people. And it wasn't until I had an incident in my own life when I realized that I could have used a gun to protect myself. Mm-hmm. And in that moment, everything kind of clicked, and I realized that it was important. So not everybody's going to have those experiences where they can get transformed like that and have that aha moment. But I think the first step is when having these conversations with people, we need to understand where they're coming from. We need to understand that they're fearful. We need to maybe even be a little more tactful. I know
it's hard to be tactful when you know the facts are on your side. But one thing I've learned a lot of things from your book. But one of the things I have learned is that spewing the facts can sometimes, it sounds good on our part because the facts definitely show that we're winning, but it doesn't work well with people, and it even comes across as kind of snarky to people. So we just need to understand where they're coming from. And then, that is the first rule of war, know your enemy. If you understand who your enemy is and where they're coming from, then maybe it's a little easier to communicate in a way that you can actually make some progress.
Well, and also in Good Gun, I talk about a lot of the strategies and tactics that the anti-gun side of the conversation are using, like terminology.
So it helps us understand them better. Yes, the terminology was amazing to me. I didn't realize how bad it was, but until I read that, I was like, oh, geez, that's true.
It's very influential. I mean, that's why the reason they use the term gun violence.
Right.
Why do you think they put those two words together?
Right.
It makes us think of something.
You never hear them say hammer violence or car violence, even though cars plowing through crowds is a new way of mass murder.
Exactly. Knife violence, dog violence.
But you hear gun violence.
You hear gun violence all the time because it's not necessarily about the violence, it's about the gun. And they're trying to attach violence to guns. And the more you hear it, the more it changes the internal representation in your mind and your thought process and the way you envision every time somebody says the word gun. Mm-hmm. Also using assault weapon. Assault weapon wasn't used in this country until the 90s, until anti-gun politicians injected it into the conversation and pound it into the narrative every single chance they get.
Right. So they're better at branding the whole debate than we are.
That's exactly it. It's branding and it's marketing, but it's done with a malicious intent. You know, if I asked you, what would you think of if I said, I'm loving it? You know, what company do you think of? You think of McDonald's, right? If I said, just do it, you think
Nike.
of Nike,
yes.
Right, exactly. Because these companies understand that the more they put that in your face and in your ears.
So the problem we have is we're trying to throw out facts and logic, and
exactly.
we need to do more on branding. But we're out of time. We don't have much time. But I just wanted to give people a sneak preview of the kind of information that's in the book. It's a great book, Good Gun, Bad Guy: Behind the Lies of the Anti-Gun Radical. You can get your copy where? How do people get it?
You can get it on Amazon.com. You can get it on Barnes & Noble. You can order it through the Good Gun, Bad Guy website, goodgunbadguy.net. And I have to add, before we leave, Jan Morgan wrote the foreword, and it's absolutely fantastic.
It's the best part of the book. Best 3 pages. Just kidding. No, but also we autographed together a limited number of them. So if you want one that's actually autographed, if you get online and order that pretty quickly, you can get one of those before we run out of them. But anyway, thanks for joining me. It's been a lot of fun having you in Arkansas, and have a safe trip home.
Thank you.
All right.